Hello and welcome to SJICN. Today we're joined by Justin Cox and Leigh Ann Gilmer of SeaDoc Society, based on Orcas Island. And they have a fundraiser event coming up on September 9th. SeaDoc is a local nonprofit founded in 2000, which conducts and sponsors marine research that reveals environmental factors threatening to unravel the web of life in the Salish Sea and surrounding watersheds. Thank you both for joining us. It sounds like there's a lot more going on than meets the eye in the Salish Sea, and SeaDoc has been working on it for 21 years.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having us, Heather. We are excited to talk a bit about our work today, and you hit the nail on the head. SeaDoc Society has been working with the Salish Sea for 21 years now, so founded in 2000. And our mission is to ensure the health of marine wildlife and their ecosystems through science and education. So in those 21 years, we've both funded and conducted more than 175 science projects that address gaps in our knowledge on how we can inform policy management decisions to really affect conservation action in the Salish Sea. And we take a place-based approach to ocean conservation, obviously focusing on the Salish Sea, which spans all the way down to Olympia, Washington in the south, up to Campbell River in British Columbia. So we always say that, this ecosystem doesn't care about political boundaries. And so we are taking that ecosystem level approach. And it's really exciting to be able to not just focus on the science that we've been doing, which is really advancing our knowledge, but then also we want to motivate and mobilize the next generation to carry this work forward. And we really feel that through our education curriculum, which was piloted virtually throughout Tacoma Public School District this past year, so reaching teachers and students even through virtual learning. And we reached 2,400 students through that program, and we are expanding it into San Juan County this next year. But really, we feel that if we're able to get hands-on science to fifth grade students, that we will really help them to know this place, the Salish Sea, which is their home, to connect with it personally. And then, of course, they will want to protect it moving forward. So really, we are trying to do what we can now to understand the work that needs to be done to really inform this conservation action that we are trying to heal the Salish Sea through. And then, of course, carry that forward with our education program. And one of the ways that we fund all of this work is through our annual fundraiser. And so we are just thrilled to talk about that today. So I'll let my colleague Justin talk about it. But really, I just want to emphasize that it's important because this event usually provides about 20% of our annual operating revenue to make everything we do possible. So it's very important to us at the SeaDoc Society.
Yeah, very well put, Leigh Ann. SeaDoc Society is a nonprofit organization that's funded by donor support. And typically, when the world's normal, we hold an in-person event on Orcas Island every year. Obviously, last year kind of threw a curveball at everyone. And then coming into this year, there's still a ton of uncertainty in the air. And so we're putting together a really fun event called Bottoms Up. We had a lot of fun last year and learned a lot. It's going to be September 9th at 5:30 p.m. We're going to host it on Zoom. It's going to be a lot of fun. Basically, we put a trailer up on our site recently where our science director, Joe Gatos, who I think probably a lot of people watching this may know, we're sending him to the bottom of the seafloor, and you're going to get to kind of go on that adventure with him on September 9th. I'm really excited about it.
We've got a great group of colleagues. And, one of the exciting things about this Bottoms Up fundraiser is that it's really going to give us the opportunity to showcase and celebrate the broad community of people that we work with.
Yeah, we have our small staff doing all of our work all the time, but I think kind of built into what SeaDoc Society does is everything from not only are we doing scientific research, our teams are out right now. Joe and Bob Friel are down underwater right now, counting young of the year rockfish, doing the work. But every year we fund other science. We have between 5 and 8 projects going on right now. And so it's not just us and the work we do, but it's the sort of lifting up and collaborating with a bunch of other organizations as well and people. And I think this event is going to showcase that.
And so collaboration is really a key element for SeaDoc.
Yeah, so the collaboration, like Justin was talking about, for example, we just went through a competitive science grants process where we were able to fund 5 projects. And that's everything we've got projects looking at herring and salmon, rockfish, understory kelp, and Olympia oysters, and some of the, as I mentioned before, gaps in our knowledge as it relates to recovering or ensuring the ongoing health of these species. And so we collaborate with a lot of different organizations. The one thing that we are recognizing is that the Salish Sea is expansive. It is a large inland body of water, a large ecosystem. And a lot of people who live in maybe the more southern Puget Sound region, we're trying to expand and raise awareness of the fact that the Salish Sea needs support, needs care to have this ongoing health addressed.
It's a little easier where we are on this chain of islands to constantly know that you're in the middle of a sea. There are 8 million people or more than that now throughout the Salish Sea area. And that border is not like where the water starts. That's like the top of the watershed where it's coming down from the mountains and into the sea that we all share. And a lot of this work is kind of driving home that importance. Everything from not only the science we're doing and science we're funding, but our communications and outreach, and also our education program to try and instill this idea in kids, which is kind of in some ways the most effective way to do it. So,
yeah. And one of the things that we're learning as well is that young people who maybe even live within 5 to 10 miles of the beach have never had an opportunity to go to the beach and to see the ecosystem that they are part of. Like Justin mentioned, 8 million people live in the Salish Sea region. And so one of the things that we're trying to do is to educate and inspire people to get to the beach if they can, to understand the science that we are making possible, and to also see the possibilities for their own lives, that they can see themselves as potential marine scientists in their future. So we're really trying to open up possibilities for people and make sure that Salish Sea science can be put into the hands of people who are inspired to make a difference.
Justin, is there a link where people can learn more about the event coming up?
SeaDocSociety.org/bottoms-up will take you to the trailer I mentioned earlier and the registration information and all of that.
And we're excited too, because we're packing a lot into an hour. It's from 5:30 to 6:30.
And we have a little bit of interactive trivia and some prizes people can win.
And briefly, are you able to share any insights about K21 Cappuccino, the male Southern resident who has gone missing?
Yeah, unfortunately, as you had mentioned, K21, known as Cappuccino, was last seen, I think, on the 28th of July and looking extremely emaciated with a collapsed dorsal fin, and has not been seen since. And so at this point, presumed to be dead. And we know from a prior published SeaDoc paper that we will unfortunately only have a 20% chance of finding the body to understand what had happened. And so this just highlights the continued and ongoing need to collect health information from these southern resident killer whales when we can, and this collaborative action to really make a difference for the health of killer whales and other species in the Salish Sea. So a very, very sad story.
Something we know demonstrably is that in order to make change, you need sort of like science and proof, and that's what SeaDoc Society does. SeaDoc Society is a science-based organization, and in order to affect and impact policy, you need to have that understanding. And so that's what we're here to do. And I think hopefully in time that's helps that situation and the health of the sea as a whole.
And also, when you go to SeaDocSociety.org, our main page, the very front page has a link to a podcast that Justin had worked on, talking with several different experts in looking at all of the threats that are facing killer whale health.
And what's the podcast called?
It's called Pod of Orcas, and it's a 7-episode series. The guests were amazing, and it's a wide variety of people, everyone from scientists who are experts about underwater sound to Linda Mapes, who is writing for the Seattle Times and has kind of covered this story, It's called Pod of Orcas, and you can search that on any podcast app. As we're talking, we're going to have a new episode of our web show, Salish Sea Wild up. So you can find that on the site too. It's going to be an exciting one.
And Leigh Ann, what are your activities like at SeaDoc?
I have the best job in the world, definitely. I get to work with our amazing colleagues. And then, of course, I get the awesome honor of meeting with our supporters and hearing their stories, hearing why they're passionate about the Salish Sea, why they care to make a difference. And it is just the most inspiring thing to me every single day of the week that I get to talk with people who not only feel deep care for this place that they love so much, but they're actually taking action to ensure the health for generations to come, people who are going to live in the Salish Sea region. And so it's just such an honor and a joy to be able to work with these community members. And that's why one of the reasons that we're excited on September 9th to just join with them virtually this time around and share in celebration of the work that they truly have made possible. Nothing that SeaDoc Society does would be possible without the support of our donors. And so we're just excited to see them all virtually on the 9th.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us and for all of the great work you guys are doing. Cheers to the health of the Salish Sea, and I hope you have a great event.
Great. And thank you, Heather, so much for this opportunity to talk with you. And thank you for all of the work that you're doing to keep our community informed.
You're welcome. Take care, everyone.
See you soon.
Thank you so much.